When the shot heard round the world reached Connecticut, some 3,700 men took up their weapons and marched off to join the Patriot forces collecting at Cambridge. And the pursuit of liberty, for the first time, chronicles the important role that Connecticut played in the American Revolution. Over 25 actors, hundreds of archival pictures, personal letters from officers and soldiers in the field, as well as reenactments of the Battle of Lexington, the attack on Fort Griswold, and the execution of Nathan Hale, bring to life the most important moment in American history, the war that created a new nation. Under the leadership of Governor Jonathan Trumbull, Connecticut mobilized all of its resources to provide support for George Washington's army. The colony supplied gunpowder, food, and clothing for the Continental Army, but it did much more. It provided more men per capita than any of the other colonies. Connecticut soldiers fought in all of the major engagements during the 8 years that the war lasted. Many of the most important characters of the war, both famous and infamous, hailed from Connecticut. A young Litchfield native, Ethan Allen, led a force of 150 men known as the Green Mountain Boys and took Fort Ticonderoga. Silas Deane of Wethersfield and Roger Sherman of New Haven were sent to the Continental Congress in Philadelphia in hopes of halting the rush to war. Israel Putnam commanded forces at Bunker Hill and is credited with the famous command, "Don't any of you fire until you see the whites of their eyes." And a young schoolteacher named Nathan Hale was hanged by the British as a spy, but not before he uttered the words that everyone remembers, "I regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." In 1780, Norwich native and one of the most brilliant officers in the Continental Army, Benedict Arnold, committed treason by joining forces with the British. A year later, he commanded a force of 2,000 British up the Thames River, where they burned the city of New London to the ground. Across the river at Groton Heights, a small contingent of 150 militia, led by Colonel William Ledyard, held out valiantly against 800 British troops. Less than an hour later, the garrison was virtually wiped out, and Colonel Ledyard was run through with his own sword of surrender. 4 months earlier, George Washington and the commanding officer of the French forces, the Comte de Rochambeau, met at the Wethersfield home of Silas Deane, where they developed plans for the battle at Yorktown, and French forces mustered on the green at Lebanon in preparation for the decisive battle. A new documentary by Lionheart Films tells the dramatic story of Connecticut's role in the American Revolution and the pursuit of liberty. Connecticut joins the revolution.